Hi, in this demo of Warpdrive, we will cover what authoring a workflow looks like and talk about four things. The first one, creating a base warp using a recording. The second one, using edit mode to review each step. Third, adding optional checks on each step. And lastly, how Warpdrive might abort if it finds something unexpected and error cases and potentially can send notifications. So I'm going to use Salesforce as the demo website that I will create a QA test over. I'm going to go in and do something really simple, like create a new lead. And let's say the data for that new lead comes from, I just have a bunch of notepads open here. But you can imagine that the data comes from some other, let's say, internal testing site. So I'm going to go ahead and create a lead here, but I'm going to do something funky in that I'm going to try and save the lead without these validated fields not populated, right? So maybe we are QA testing that we are able to get this dialog and so on and so forth. So let's go ahead and create a really simple workflow, and to do that in Warpdrive, as we know, we just start recording, right? So that's what we're going to do, and this is the site. So let me just copy that over. This is the site that we are going to use. Okay, so we run the recording. Okay. Okay, we got a Warpdrive recording in progress. I'm going to go ahead, create a new lead. And instead of populating these fields, I'm actually just going to click save, right? Now this is the dialog that we expect to pop up. I'm going to close this, and this will be logged as a step in that warp, right? So I could stop this right here, but let me go ahead and actually fill this out. So I'm going to go and select all, copy. I'm going to paste that there. Select the last name, paste the last name there. Select. Oops. Paste that there. And then I'm actually not going to save because I don't want to create a new entry. And let's say that is my 50-second recording. Right. Let's go back. Okay. Now it should process, and if I run warp now, it should run that entire flow, right? Maybe a success case. So let's go ahead and do that. What does it do? Okay, create new lead. The error dialog popped up. Cool. We're going to go do that. That happened. So this looks like Warpdrive had a false positive. It thinks that Chrome is not in front. I'm going to. So this is a pre-release version, so I'm going to click done here, and it's hopefully going to continue. Yes, it does. It again thinks Chrome is not in front. That's fine. We don't care about that. Okay, workflow done. Cool. Now that was a good case, right? Let's see. Let's try to instrument a bad case. Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to edit this workflow. And what edit will do is it will walk me through step by step on each one of those steps, right? So it says click here, I'm going to click there, it follows me along. Okay, do that. Now it's saying click save. Remember that when we click save, this is where it pops up that error dialog, right? So what we want to do is, do we want to click save here, or do we want to pause it on the next one? Let's say we turn this into a breakpoint, right? So I will make it not auto run on this step, right? And then go ahead and exit this workflow, right? So now we have a modified workflow that has a breakpoint in one location. So if I run this, it won't go zoom all the way through. It will basically stop at the save location, and you'll see a reason for why I did that, because I want to show you what happens if a bad case happens. So I'm going to manually instrument a bad case, because I can't really break Salesforce. Okay, so now it's stopped on save. Now let's say if I click save right now, the error dialog would pop up. Instead of that, let's say I go ahead and some last name, some code. So if it clicks save now, the error dialog will not pop up, right? So let's go ahead and do that. And you'll see that Warpdrive was just going to basically error out because it can't find the next error dialog that it was looking for, right? We're just instrumenting a bad case and trying to see what happens. Okay, cool. fail to find an element on this page, and this is where you could send a notification. You could do just mark that test as failing. In our case, let's actually clean this up so that we can see it run to completion. So I'm going to skip this. These were the cases where it couldn't find. Okay, now it's going back and continuing on with the workflow as we had designed earlier, right? The rest of the workflow happens. Now again, in the QA test case, you won't have it run to completion once it fails on the first step, right? So we'll just basically send a notification, mark this test as failing there. Another important thing to note is that if you go back into the edit mode, right, what you can have is that you're talking about this leads menu, right? It has auto identified that. You could let's go ahead and now do that here. It moves forward. I click new leads. It's looking for save, right? If you wanted to add some assertions to this, you could go in and basically in the step-by-step mode, you could add a check on the step. I don't know, that the button name content is save, and so on and so forth. And as you can see, there are other annotations that you could add if you were basically trying to be more descriptive about what this test case does. Cool, let's stop this, let's exit this, and basically that is what authoring in Warpdrive looks like. Basically, Warpdrive's differentiator is simple. It takes a recording of exactly what a QA tester or PM would do day to day in their app and converts it into a test automation. And as you kind of saw, you can cross over different windows or tabs. You can even interact with native Chrome dialogues such as file upload. And you can do things exactly as a human operator does. Of course, there are caveats, as you just saw, there's some false positives there in this initial product we have right now. But soon in 2022, we will have every desktop and browser interaction mapped out. Cool. So that was a quick demo of Warpdrive running on a QA scenario.